You have the colors, you have the sizes, you have all these pieces. But when you take that out inside of type of an array, or you look at that in relation to your entire store, now you have to start visualizing that. Hey there, JJ here at VisionLabs. Today we are going to be talking through how to utilize transactions, orders, products, and SKUs. This is something that we talk a lot about with a lot of our clients around how do we want to visualize this type of data when you have a lot of different SKUs. Some of our clients have thousands of SKUs across their organization and across their product lines. So what do? How do you look at that? Because you have all these different variances and we want to make it useful, right? Like that's the goal. So I'm going to start here on a whiteboard and we're going to whiteboard out exactly how you can kind of start with saying, what are we doing as far as transaction volume? How are we doing as far as each of these verticals? And then how are we doing as far as each of these variants and products? Let's dive into it. If you have not yet, leave a like. You're gonna like this. Subscribe if you have not. VisionLabs.com. We are here to help you and your organization move faster, further through data and reporting that really does drive you to action. So let's hop into it. Here we are in a white canvas, okay? I'm gonna show you first what this looks like. So you have transactions here at the top, right? This is something that everyone can kind of get behind. You have a transaction that is somebody gave you money, right? Within that transaction, you usually have a product, okay? And so that product could be a jacket. I'm just gonna use this hat, for example. We are buying a hat. That is the product that's been bought. Underneath that, we could then have the variant of that hat. And this could be color, right? So we've got the color of black. And then we also have the size, the variant of size. And I have a big head for everybody who's wondering. And so let's just say we have this different reporting strategy right here. So we are an e-commerce site. We are selling product of hat. It is black and it is a double XL. How do we know if that is actually doing anything for us? This is the problem that a lot of people do not understand when they are looking at their data, whether that's in GA or anything else. We are going to talk about how we can view this as a useful measure of options. So what you'll usually have is you have a product view. So someone viewed the product, and let's just make this a really big number, 100,000 people who viewed this maybe today, this month, whatever it might be. So 100,000 people viewed hat. We then have, for example, 1,000 people who 1,000 transactions, right? 1,000 transactions. 100,000 views of this product, 1,000 transactions. Our conversion rate is 1%. Great. Well, we then have to break this down, right? So now we have to say, okay, inside of this product that we have purchased, someone has purchased this hat, we now have these different categories, right? So we have the category of color. And so maybe we had, for example, 200 black, and then we had 200 that were white, and then we had 600 right here that were purple. Purple was a big seller. Maybe they're a Lakers seller. You never know, right? So we now have 200 black, 200 white, 600 purple. What people can do is you look at then 600 people, and you then tie that to that and you say, okay, we have a 0.6% conversion rate for 600. That is not the case, right? We have to look at everything in aggregate. So there's two ways to look at this. One way is you can use a stacked bar chart and you can stack these together. So you can literally put them on top of each other and it looks like this, right? We have variant 1, variant 2, variant 3, and we now start to look at things a little bit better. So here are our variants. Another way you can do that is you can actually say, okay, we have products purchased by color, and then we have size. I'm gonna zoom in here just since we have size of, I'm gonna go small, and then we have size of medium, and then we have size of a large, okay? And so now we can take these and we can say, okay, these are all not connected together, but they are combined together. What that does for us is two things. We now have not just 1,000 transactions, we now have the variant of every single size and color and everything else that was purchased. The piece that we really have to understand is, do we need to know how many people viewed white hats, or do we just have to know how many people purchased white hats? That allows us to do two things. Is one, we can plan for future inventory, right? We have white hats that are on the rise, but we can also plan for how our website is being designed. People often don't think about this. Is the number of times something is viewed is directly correlated with the number of times that thing is purchased. That sounds really dumb to say it out loud, I know, but the idea is that when you are looking at a transaction, there are a lot of nuances to that transaction that people oftentimes don't think about. You have the colors, you have the sizes, you have all these pieces. But when you take that out inside of a type of an array, or you look at that in relation to your entire store, now you have to start visualizing that. And I'm gonna show you really quickly of how you can do that very simply utilizing LookerStudio. But first, if you are wondering where you are in your process of being a data-driven organization, go to VisionLabs.com/DOO. Get our DOO, our data order of operations, to make sure you are checking off the right boxes and are in the right step. Hey, maybe we can help. Maybe you guys are on your own journey, but it's really helpful to know where you are on your data order of operations. So go to VisionLabs.com/DOO. Now let's get back into it. All right, here we have a bunch of events. Events inside of GA4, looking at a shop, we are looking at the Google Merchant Shop. What you'll notice here is we have views. What you're gonna automatically want to do is look at your event count, right? So here is event count, the number of events of each of these pieces. I'm gonna scroll this down right now, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna build one more thing with products, because products is what we really care about. So we have item, and I'm gonna show you the item ID and the item name. And then down here, we're gonna have item views. Okay, so now that we have our item name and we have our items viewed, you will see here exactly how this is gonna come into play. So here, if we, for example, we had a hat, right? Indiegogo Youth, or Google, Indiegogo Youth Tea, for example, right here. You then view that, you then add it to cart, you then purchase it. And so I think if I type in items purchased, we should be able to see a quick little funnel, and you can obviously tell Google does not have their own stuff set up. But the idea here is that you could have the Android Classic plushie at 1,000 people saw it, and then 526 were purchased. What you then can look at here that is going to make it a little bit more useful is we have item variant. And Google sometimes doesn't want to set this up, and here we go. So this is where we start looking at all these different sizes. With a lot of our larger e-commerce clients, right, that have hundreds, if not thousands of products and variants and SKUs, think of like the really big retailers. This is where the money is made, folks, is you have to understand what your sizing, what your colors, what demand is for every single one of these, how people are viewing that and purchasing that. Because you can have a chicken and egg situation, right? Where you can have where people are buying something, where they're saying, I want to buy this thing, but you're only selling that. You're only trying to sell that. So was your intention to sell that, or were you trying to sell something else? Very big question, but here we go. And so here we have the item variant. And so if I click on one of these, let's see if it works. And we turn on cross filtering here. And if I click on one of these, so here we are, size extra small. We have all of these different things that are in size extra small. Unfortunately, Google does not pass for the demo data, what items viewed and items purchased. But you could see here, the extra small size, we now are looking at this breakdown. To my earlier point, we now have the item, we now have a variant, we could have color, we could have all of these different pieces, and they need to look at their own breakdown. So you might want to have a size breakdown, you might want to have a item breakdown, you might want to have a color, etc. breakdown. The reason being, because the more that you try to optimize your site, you try to CRO, you try to improve things, if you don't know what you're intentionally trying to do, and this happens again, more SKUs you have, more variants, more products. Think of shoes where you have like 12 different sizes, right? You don't know who's viewing it and then purchasing it. You have to look at the number of people who are viewing your purple shoes and the people who are purchasing purple shoes. Because you could put purple shoes on the front of your site and you could say, hey, we are selling these. Our goal is we're trying to sell purple shoes for the month of April. And no one buys them. Or everyone buys them. You're like, we need to overstock purple shoes, but you didn't realize that the conversion rate for purple shoes is very, very low. And the second that you're not promoting it, you do not need that inventory anymore. Again, this might be something that's very simple to you. A lot of people that we talk with struggle with this very much of we have different breakdowns, we have different items, we have different products, we have different SKUs, we have colors. I wanted to give you a view into looking at that combination of transactions and orders and products and SKUs. I hope that made some sense to you. As you get through building out your reporting, let us know if you run into any problems. It is going to be something that a lot of companies really try to optimize for in the coming years, and we will be here at the pinnacle to help you get there further.